Welcome back to Our Vision Farm. I have already started doing my little farm project I wanted to do today, which is pruning our fruit trees. I've been meaning to do this in a while, and I want to definitely get it done before winter hits, although it doesn't really get that cold here in Florida, but sometimes deep into the winter we do get some frosty nights. So I want my trees to already be pruned before we have any type of threat. I want the trees to be pruned and pretty much healed before we get really cold weather late this winter. I'm not sure if fall time is a good time to prune trees, but I think it is. We have mild temperatures, and also we're under a threat of a hurricane at some point. This is the weekend right now, it's Sunday. At some point we might be getting a hurricane here in Florida, so I feel like taking some weight off of the trees might help with their survival rate. Hopefully I am right about that, especially for things like banana trees. I like to trim off all the excess leaves because it just helps with the tree waving around in the wind. So here, just for purposes of me keeping track, this is filled with some branches I trimmed off our nectarine tree. So what I'm doing, I don't know if it'll work. I do have some rooting powder that I can mix into this water, but I stuck all my branches that I'm pruning into a bucket of water just to see if maybe we can propagate some branches. Maybe some will start rooting and I'll have some more baby trees to plant. So that would be pretty cool if that works out. I tried it with blueberry branches whenever I prune them, and even when I prune just the new growth, it doesn't seem to root for me. But maybe the peach and nectarine trees work out a little bit better. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to see if I can find some of that rooting powder, or maybe just search what else will encourage. I heard if you put honey in the water, it might encourage root growth. But that whole bucket is nectarine, and what I'm doing is just finding random containers around the property and sticking. I'm doing the peach tree next, so I'll do a bucket of peach tree branches. We planted some seeds here. Nothing has really sprouted in there. I do have some of my zucchini start sprouting, and then over here I planted some more cucumber, so those have sprouted. I'm gonna wait till they get a little bit bigger to plant them in the garden. So I pruned quite a bit off our nectarine tree, and next I want to do the peach tree. The peach tree has really grown a lot, so I want to take a lot off of it. I'm kind of following a pruning guideline that I found on Google, but I'm doing my best to follow it as close as possible. I have to take the caging that I put around the trees off of it in order to get to it and prune really good. So that is how I left my nectarine tree right here. I also put some fresh mulch down as well to help with the weeds. And so this was a lot bigger before, and like you saw, I took that whole bucket of branches off of it. So I kind of left the two main big branches here. I only left these little ones because they look like they're like budding. Some of them are flowering and it has some little buds on it. If not, I would have took them all off. See, like these little branches are flowering, and I felt bad about taking those off. I don't think we're gonna get any nectarines off of that. It's not the right season for it, as far as I'm aware at least. But I just left them on. Otherwise I would have just took all these little branches off and then just left the two big Y-shaped ones, but I took a lot off the top as well. And then I'm going to do the same with the peach tree. So this is the before on the peach tree, and I'll show you an after. So I'm going to take out all of these bottom branches that are sticking out, all of these little ones. I'm going to decide which one I want to keep. Definitely want to keep that middle branch, and then maybe like a Y shape, the two thickest branches that go off on the sides, and remove anything else. This one is very tall. When we first planted this was just a little bit over this cage, maybe like right here, and it has grown all the way up there, and it's definitely getting too tall. And then if we do end up getting really heavy winds, I feel like chopping this down a bit is going to help with the tree bending and breaking. So hopefully I'm removing enough weight off of it so that it's not too bad. Hopefully we don't get too much loss on our property. We have a lot of fruit trees going on. I'm thinking about pruning the figs a little bit. Definitely want to prune the excess leaves off our banana trees. I have that big guava tree over there I want to prune. And everything else is just going to have to fend for itself. I am not sure what we're doing with all the animals. Like our meat chickens, I have nowhere at all to put them. In past years, when we had bad storms, we had the area that we turned into a bird aviary. That used to be where we would put all the birds and lock them up for the bad weather. But now that is a parakeet aviary, so I don't really have any housing to keep the birds in and keep them safe. We do have an area that we can lock up our other larger animals like the sheep. We have a shed that we can clear out, put the lawnmowers somewhere else and lock them up in there, and we'll probably bring the dogs in if it turns out to be a very bad storm, but I'm not sure. We are processing turkeys this week, so these turkeys won't even be here anymore. Thankfully, we were planning on processing them anyway, so now is a great time. And then we just have the smaller turkeys to worry about. And then everything else is just very small, like Mariah's silkies that she has. We could put them in a cage and put them in our screened-in patio to try to keep everybody as safe as possible, depending on how bad the storm ends up being. Because if it's a very, very bad storm, I have no way of picking up and taking our animals and putting them anywhere, and we don't have like a official barn or anything to lock everybody up safely. So it's just going to be leaving it up to God's protection to protect our home and our property. I have to take pictures of our house and our property because that's always a good thing to do before any major storms. Take pictures of your property just in case there is any damage from the storm so that insurance will cover it. So I got to do that while I got my camera out. But just wanted to show you guys the work that I am doing for our fruit trees. Now, I was going to do this anyway. It's not really because we're expecting heavy rains and wind. I needed to prune these, especially that peach tree is ridiculous. And I think it's just a coincidence that it might help if we do have the heavy winds. It might help the trees stay standing instead of branches just snapping off or the whole thing bending down in the middle because there's so much weight at the top. So let me get this peach tree done. I'll show you how it looks when I am done, and then I'm going to get the rest of these trees done today. Alright, peach tree is done. Just got to top off with mulch. So this is how the poor thing is looking. I try to leave the two stronger branches that the tree had. I had a couple that were kind of strong and thick, but I chose the two that were the thickest, plus the middle main branch, and chopped off everything off. Here's my pile of branches. I'm going to stick it in a different colored bucket of water and see if I can get any of those to root. But this tree has been doing really good. The branch, the main root is getting very thick, and then hopefully this will just help with the wind, and maybe the support of the cage also helps with the wind. And I still left it pretty tall. It's taller than me as it is right now, and I don't want it to get too much taller than that because when it does come time for this to fruit and harvesting, I don't want to have to bring a ladder out to harvest, and so we don't want to let it get too tall. So hopefully this will encourage it to bush out a little more and stay a little bit short and concentrate on continuing to build a stronger root system so that we can get fruit at some point, maybe next year. And it does suck to have to chop off so much progress, but that is kind of what you want to do with the fruit trees. You want to prune them a lot in the beginning. Like even these elderberries that we planted, these have no protection from the deer, and these got eaten down by the deer at least 4 times to the point where there was not one leaf left on these. And look how they just continue to bounce back and get even bigger and bushier. That is the same concept with your fruit trees, with other type of trees. You want to prune as much as you can while the weather is nice. You don't want to do it in the middle of summer or in the middle of winter, because then you risk killing your trees. But if you can do it while you have mild temperatures, that is the best time, I think, and it helps the tree not suffer too much. So I'm going to retop this off with mulch and then put the cage back on it. The cage is very important because, again, with the deer, the only reason these two trees are still alive is because we caged them off. Because if not, the deer just would have completely continued to eat them and probably kill them. And ever since we did put this fencing around them, it has stopped the deer from eating too much off of our tree. They still do eat whatever sticks out of the cage, but they don't even bother to work too hard to get to what's inside of the cage. So that is the finished pruned peach tree. This is a Florida Belle peach, still has the tags on it, and I'm sure you guys have seen some of our older videos, and when we first planted this, it was definitely not this big. So we're very excited that our planting is still alive and is still thriving and just growing beautifully and right on track. I am not sure why our nectarine keeps blooming around this time, but maybe trimming and pruning some of that off will help with that tree continuing to concentrate and focus on growing its root system really strong instead of trying to flower and produce fruit when the season is not right. But I'm going to stick those in water. I'm going to put mulch in here first and then cage this off. And then I'm going to get working on the rest of the trees. Just wanted to show you that one though. I'm not going to record all of them, but I wanted to show you how it looked after I pruned them. And then I'm excited to see how it bounces back, as long as this storm isn't too bad, doesn't do too much damage for us. I'm excited to show you guys the progress on the regrowth and how it bounces back after the heavy pruning. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I am by no means a professional at all, especially when it comes to fruit trees. In past years, all the fruit trees we planted have died, but I've done a lot more research lately, and especially when we were planting the fruit trees, we caught our mistakes on what we were doing wrong. So luckily this time around, the fruit trees haven't been a waste of money. We still have our guava trees, we have banana trees, pineapple guava trees, the peach and nectarine, elderberry, mulberries, and all of our figs are still alive and still standing after almost a year of having them planted, probably less than a year, but they didn't even last that long before when we used to plant fruit trees. So that is good. That means we're making progress and learning from our mistakes. So hopefully this front yard will turn into a beautiful fruit and food producing front area of our property, because otherwise we don't have anything going on up here besides the meat chickens and the turkeys that we rotate around. But I really want to make this into a food producing area of our farm using the fruit trees, because it's a perfect spot. Gets enough sunlight, we're able to reach it with the hose to water, and it's just a good area because we also have the meat chickens being rotated, so that is fertilizing our ground and getting it ready for even more planting in the future. We haven't bought fruit trees in a while, but my hope is that we can at least get one or two rooted out of all these branches I've been trimming, and that way I don't have to buy any fruit trees. I can just plant the ones that rooted. So fingers crossed on that. But I also want to get some of this trimmed around our house as well, because if we're expecting a hurricane, we don't want all those branches smacking into our windows. So we got to get all those chopped down as much as possible, especially this one. We have a branch right on the window, and over here climbing into our patio. I want to get that one chopped down. And we'll see what we can do. This will be the end of this video. I'm going to go get some more mulch and finish up all of the trees that we have, especially the bananas. But I'm really hoping that doing this right at the time before we get heavy winds will help out and not having too much loss. And that is pretty much it. Right now we are in the process of planting vegetables, like fall vegetables for our gardens. We got a head start by buying some starters at the Meet Florida festival that I posted about a couple days ago. And then next time we see some at the store, our local feed store also said that they had fall vegetable starters coming in. I don't want to get too much more things planted now because again, we don't know about the storm. Most likely we're getting heavy winds and lots of rain, so it's not the perfect timing to be planting seeds or seedlings and stuff into the ground right now. We're gonna have to wait till that's all over with. I feel really bad for like all the big farms that have already started planting crops. On Facebook I saw this one very big farm that already got all their green beans planted for what's supposed to be the Thanksgiving green beans. So that is all up in the air because if we do get a hurricane, their whole entire crop will be complete loss and it will be ruined from the heavy rains and the heavy winds. And there goes that harvest that was supposed to be right around the time of Thanksgiving. So as for me, as a small homesteader and a very small farm, I don't want to be planting anything right now until we know for sure what is going to happen. But I am, like I showed you in the little greenhouse, we are starting some seeds and we can easily move those into safety. And hopefully we do get some rooting going on with these fruit tree branches so that we have some more trees to plant in the future once those are established in their own little pot of soil. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed a little snippet of what I am doing today around here on the property, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned, make sure you have subscribed and put on the notifications so you get reminders of whenever we do post a video. And thanks again for all those helping out with us getting our watch hours. We're still we're still building up to the 4,000 watch hours that we need to get our channel monetized, but we have reached the amount of subscribers we needed. So just working on the watch hours. I'm trying to stay consistent with posting as many videos as physically possible, especially when I'm out here doing little work and little projects. So I hope you guys enjoyed and continue to follow us along. Let me know if you have any type of video requests. I will try my best to record and film those, or any tutorials and stuff like that. More than happy to try to help you guys out as well. If it's anything that's garden related, farm related, animals, or even from our small business, canning and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to film some extra bonus videos on that. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again for watching and have a blessed week, and hope everybody is staying safe and away from these storms that have been popping up everywhere, it seems like. We will be okay, and we will see you guys in the next one. I'll keep you guys updated on everything.